Doug, what does the Bible state about suicide, for instance, when Saul fell on his sword in conjunction with the modern day epidemic? That's a tough question. The Bible is silent about suicide. We know that it speaks about murder, obviously, that we're not to murder. It never says anything about murdering yourself. Okay? It just doesn't say it. So if the only thing that we have to go on is that we should not murder, what does that mean? Well, let's do a thought experiment. Okay, let's take King David. Is he going to be in the kingdom or not? He is, right? He will be in the kingdom. But should he be? He murdered a man, right? He didn't actually go out and kill the man with his own sword, but he arranged it so that this man would be killed. And then God sent the prophet Nathan to confront David, and then David finally overcome with guilt, overcome with this in-your-face kind of statement. He repented, and God worked it in a way that he had to repent because he was confronted with this. Now, somebody that kills themselves obviously cannot be confronted about this later. They don't have an opportunity to repent of this action. So based on those realities, people have surmised, they've deduced that, well, because you can't repent of it, then there's no way to be forgiven of it. I see the logic. I'm not sure that that logic would hold up, especially since we don't have anything where it says that suicide is the unforgivable sin. I don't believe personally that suicide is the unforgivable sin. First of all, most of the time, again, we speak in generalities, but most of the time when people commit suicide, they do so not because it's not about murdering themselves. That's not murder necessarily. They're trying to get rid of the pain. All right, and in Saul's case, he was told by Samuel that he would go and be with Samuel. So does that mean that Saul is going to be in hell or something like that? Again, we don't know. Doesn't state that at all. But he knew what would happen to him if he were found out by the Philistines, and so he wanted to avoid that fate. And one can hardly blame him because it would probably have been pretty ugly if he'd fallen into that. So yeah, he does try to commit suicide, and now again, it doesn't take away the gravity of suicide. It's an awful thing. I don't recommend that people do that, but I think we need to understand that when people do it, they're trying to get away from pain. There's some kind of pain. There's some kind of trauma. There's something that is so awful in their lives that they would rather jump off a building or whatever it may be. And they do it out of a place of fear. They do it out of a place of insecurity, of doubt, of depression. And so they're not really in their best mind when they do that. Personally, I think that I don't think that God would damn a person for the act of suicide. If they don't make it into the kingdom, it's not because of suicide. It'd be because of something else. But suicide is when people have lost all hope. And I think few of us understand what losing all hope really means. I don't. I've never gotten to a place where I've lost all hope. I've gotten to a place where, yeah, I was down and out, but I was never without all hope. I can imagine how people could get there. I really could. But I've never been there. And so people that commit suicide have lost all hope. And if we lose all hope, then, right, where does that leave us? Insofar as, what that means for the person on the other side, we are not told. And I'm not going to, speculate necessarily what's going to happen to people because I don't know. My guess would be that, if they don't make it into the kingdom, it's not because of suicide. It would be because of something else.